The Tallboy Experience.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Pierre, the light-skinned comedian, the one that brought light-skinned brothers back before Barack Obama. And if you want that experience, Tallboy would give it to you. What's up, Tallboy?
If you want the exclusive, you want the Tallboy, because he's going to bring you the exclusive.
Who is Comedian Pierre? You know, well, one of the funniest, one of the truly funniest straight-up comics. A brother that loves to make people laugh, man, in any kind of form, be it movies, just talking in conversation, or stand-up comedy. A lot of people don't know that I actually write, produce, and direct. I did a movie called For the Love of Money. I wrote, produced, and directed. Some of y'all might remember that. Also, just finished doing 3 movies called Slice 1, 2, and 3. It's a horror comedy. Basically, it's about what black people would normally do in a horror movie. So I did that. I got a web series out right now called Comedian Pierre. So it's on YouTube, and I just sold some stuff to Kevin Hart's company, man. So I'm multifaceted. I write, produce, direct. I got a book out called My 100 Homies and Phonies of Hollywood. So Pierre's a Renaissance man. Some people call me that, so that's what I am. What happened was I started in high school when I was 17 years old. I'm from Washington, D.C., Maryland area. Same place Martin Lawrence is from, Tommy Davidson, Dave Chappelle, Wanda Sykes is from there, Teddy Carpenter, Ashley Larry, Earthquake, all of us from the same area. And I was in a class when in high school, and I was reading the weekend paper. It was a Friday, because I had a vocational school where I have a project that was done already, so I basically had days to chill. But I looked in the weekend section, and it said a comedy club. It had an open mic night and a comedy club. It kind of say the list. But that night it was regular comedy night, so I went out to the comedy club in Washington, D.C. called the Comedy Cafe, and I went to this comic, a black comic. I'd never been to a comedy club before, and I said, yo, he was a feature comic or something like that. And then after the show was over, I said, yo, how do you get into comedy? What do you do? And this fool gonna tell me, man, just go home and write 5 minutes of jokes and come on back. And I was like, all right. And I was on Thursday, because Thursday night was open mic night. So I'm driving home thinking, what is 5 minutes of comedy? I never told no jokes. Now I had Snap. We did a thing called Jonin. I don't know what you do around your way, but Jonin's like snapping, signifying, talking about each other, ranking. I was excellent at that. I would cut you up from head to toe. I can do that all day long, but I didn't know how to write a joke. So I came back on that Thursday, but what I did was I got these 2 albums from one guy named Rodney Dangerfield, old comedian, another guy named Stephen Wright, was old comedian, a white comic. So I took their albums and I listened to them, and I took out their jokes and made urban versions of them. Now they weren't really up on the comics like that at the time. I went on stage that Thursday, and I had 5 minutes to do. And I killed. They were like, my God, you funny. Where you funny? Well, I ain't gonna tell you one story about I went up there, bombed the first time, wasn't no dare. I wanted to become a comedian because Eddie Murphy was popular, and he was, I was a class clown. I wanted to do what Eddie Murphy was doing. And I killed the first time I went up there, no problem. It was a place called the Comedy Cafe on a Thursday night, open mic night, and people thought I was the bomb. I was like, oh, this is easy. But man, remember, I was taking other people's jokes. And it was about 6 weeks into doing that every Thursday. What happened was you would have to sign up at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. You put your name, everybody puts their name in a hat and pull out the number that you're going, what order you're going on. The show would start at 9 o'clock. So from 6 to 9, you had to do what hang around downtown DC or go back home or do what you had to do to come back at 9 o'clock for your spot. Well, I went home and I was coming back, and I remember I had a spot like the 6th spot, and I was running late for it. I knew it needed 5 minutes to each comic, so I knew what time roughly, like 9:40 I was supposed to go on stage. I'm running late speeding, and I get pulled over and got a ticket. I was like, come on, cop, give me this ticket, let's go. And I ran up to the club, run inside, they're like, yo, you next. And they pretty much was calling me, they're about to skip me, but they called me up, and I went on stage, and I told the story about being pissed off about getting a ticket, and people started laughing. I'm thinking, this is real, this is not no joke, this happened. I was talking about what happened, and people were laughing. I was like, yeah, that dude did this. And I realized, hold on, I can do my own jokes, I can tell my own stuff. And from that day on, I started eliminating the jokes that they, that I quote unquote took or whatever, and started using my own jokes. And within about a month and a half, 2 months later, I was doing my own material from beginning to end. Oh man, how I first got on Def Comedy Jam. I had moved to LA from Washington, D.C., and I was doing a comedy club called the Comedy Act Theater. And I was actually I've been in LA for like a year, and I've been rocking the stages. And a guy named Bob Sumner asked the comedy club owner who was some of the funniest cats out there, and he flew out from New York to watch us, and I was one of the 3 people he was watching, definitely had an eye on, and I rocked it that night. He loved it, and he said, yo man, I want you to do this show called Def Comedy Jam. They had already recorded like 4 episodes, but they hadn't aired yet. They were just recording it, so they looked at it was so successful how the recording went, they're looking for more comics, and so that's why he came out to LA, heard about me, and I went and did it. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how big it was going to be. I knew it was on HBO, but I didn't know if it was going to be a large, popular show or not. And I went out there with me, D.L. Hughley, Simply Marvelous, a whole bunch of comedians. Before, I remember going to New York. I'd never done New York before, and people were like scaring me, like, yo man, New York don't take it. If you bomb, they're gonna boo your butt, man. They're gonna boo you, man. I'm like, oh Lord have mercy. Because from the Apollo. And I was kind of nervous. And I remember we came in New York, it was cold, it was like wintertime, it was freezing, and we had to take a shuttle. They picked us up from a shuttle bus from our hotel and drove us to the back of the venue, and we had to walk past all this long line of thugs. Everybody had Timberland boots on and hoodies. They was mean mugging us. I'm coming in with my little shirt on, my little suit jacket. Well, it wasn't a suit actually, but my outfit jacket on, my outfit bag. I'm walking past all these mean mugging dudes. I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be rough out here. And I remember going there, man, and it was exciting, man. It was crowded. I'd never done anything on film like that before, recorded like that, and just to see all the young comics and all the comics and energy from New York comics. I'd never met some of these comics, and they went on there and they was just rocking it. And a lot of people don't know this though, but every episode, each comic, they would do 5 comedians. Whoever didn't do well, they would eliminate them. So the pressure was on to rock or you wouldn't be aired. So they only aired 4 comics, but they taped 5. And luckily, my first, one, I rocked it. I don't know if y'all remember the episode I did with being shot at McDonald's. I'm like, I ain't the only one out here spreading bullets around equally. He ain't been shot, which is actually a true story. I mean, I didn't do that, but I had been shot a couple times. I was in L.A. doing comedy at the comedy clubs, and Robert Townsend, he wound up directing the movie. He did 5 Heartbeats, Hollywood Shuffle, and he saw me. He said, "I got a movie for you. I got a movie idea for you." I'm thinking, okay, I knew who he was, but I was like, okay. And he would see me every couple of months, at the club, and like, yo, I still got this idea for you. I was like, okay. After about the 3rd time, I'm thinking, whatever, he just talking. And about 6 months after the initial time, he told me he had a project for me. He said, "Pete, let me tell you something." He called me and said, I want you to come to, the Beverly Hills Hotel and do me a favor. Come out Sunday morning around 9 o'clock in the morning. I want you to meet somebody. And I was like, all right. I didn't know Robert Townsend called me, so I'm going to come. And it's funny because that Friday, I used to do warm-ups for show. Warm-ups is where they have live audiences. In between takes, they want a comedian to keep it, the crowd live and make some jokes to them. I used to do it for Will Smith's Fresh Prince, and LL Cool J had a show called In the House. I was the warm-up guy for those shows back then. And when I was doing LL Cool J show In the House, one night I was up there, and there's like a football stadium, it's like tiered up, and if you're standing in the front, the people in front, you can't really see their face that well because they're right in front of you and you can see the rest of the crowd. And there was a woman, she's kind of heavy set but very cute, and I was like, look at you, I'm trying to be funny. I was like, looking like Halle Berry's sister. Now she was sitting right next to another woman who had a hat on, baseball hat pulled down. And I'm like, just joking, I ain't know. And then when the TV show was over with, they got up and walked away, and it was Halle Berry. I was like, oh my God, the girl next to it was Halle Berry. I was like, oh, that might be Halle Berry's sister. So when they called me to go meet, at the Beverly Hills Hotel, when I got to the hotel in the lobby, Robert Townsend's assistant, her name was Charlie, came out. She said, let me tell you, don't get too excited, but you're about to go meet Halle Berry in the other room. And I was like, oh my God, I wonder if she's gonna be pissed off because Friday I just clowned her. I was like, oh my God. I know, why Halle Berry? No, I wanted to meet Halle Berry, but I'm thinking, why Halle Berry? So I walk in there, and she was sitting in the booth with Robert Townsend and that other girl. I was like, oh, that was running being her assistant. I was like, oh, talk about, wanting to be like Southwest, want to get away. I was like, oh, but she didn't say nothing about it. We sat and we talked for a while. I left out about a half hour. We left. I didn't know what it was about. The next day, he called me and said, you got a part in the movie, and that's how Paps happened. I got probably the funniest web series. I mean, everyone who watches it, you can look at the comment. I have hundreds and hundreds of comments, and nobody has a negative thing to say. They all say, man, turn this into a TV show. This is crazy. It's called Dating Pierre, Dating Pierre. Dating Pierre. It took place in Atlanta, and it's basically about my experiences dating, like different scenarios of going out on dates and so forth. I wrote each episode, just a funny scenario. I'm quite sure you guys have been out on dates. You could probably write some stories about some crazy dates you've been on. Well, I did that, and it's just about me, who I am, Pierre the comedian, trying to find love in Atlanta. You heard me, in Atlanta. So you know how I get down in Atlanta. 18 to 80 blind, cripple, or crazy is out here. And I dated them all. So these shows about me dating different women and all a plethora of stuff you can imagine. Like I said, it's Atlanta, such a great city that you can come up with all kind of material. So I wrote and produced those, and I'm in Hollywood shopping around as a half-hour show. They're only like 10 to 15 minutes long right now on YouTube. So you can check them out. And if you do check them out, you tell me you saw them on Tallboy. I saw you. I heard you on Tallboy. That's what I want to hear. I read the comments, and so it's really a funny show, man. It's about me dating. I play who I am. I'm out here dating, you know, and you can imagine trying to date nowadays. It's, you know, it's different, you know, with the internet and all that, so social media and just, you know, getting catfished and all that kind of stuff. So that's what the show is about, me dating. And right now we're in talks of trying to get into a half-hour show. Hopefully I can get it to a network that let me be me, you know, like FX, HBO, or something like that. So while I was out here, when I was in Atlanta, I film a lot of stuff. I film my movies and my web series, and I decided to shoot like 50 skits, funny skits. And I'm very elaborate with my skits. I'm not very, you know, some of my skits, I don't just do me and a girl in the bed talking, you know, all the time. I like to do police uniform, slave uniform, first 48. You know, I like to do a lot of funny skits, you know, and I did 50 of them. And I was gonna just put them on social media, just put them out myself on my social media sites on Instagram and Facebook. But I had heard that Kevin Hart was looking for content for a new network he was starting called the LOL Network. So I flew out to LA. I showed his head, the guy who runs his network, the skits, and then he loved them. He's like, man, these are funny, dude. He said, can we get these from you? I was like, yeah. He said, in fact, can you make 55 more? I want 105 skits. I was like, what? He said, I'll take these 50, we'll pay for them, and we go back and give me 55 more. And I was like, cool, because he wanted one per week for 2 years, which is 52 weeks. Well, 104 weeks, my bad. And so I said, all right, cool. So I went back home. And, you know, back home being in Atlanta, I was living in Atlanta, and I got my crew back together. I wrote them out real quick, and we shot them, and I gave it to them, and so they have them over there. It's called Pierre Uncensored, so you can imagine it's uncensored, so it's crazy. Oh man, this book is called My 100 Homies and Phonies of Hollywood. Now, it's not really a diss book. It's just a funny book about all the celebrities that I met while I was in Hollywood, strong for like all through the 90s. It's crazy. It's about how I met Halle, I just kind of told you guys. The Rock, Chris Rock. I did a video with Tupac, my man Tupac down here, called All About You. Every little video we go, every little video we see the same girls, basically. I met Eminem before he blew up, you know, with Dr. Dre. He's working on a song called They Forgot About Dre in the studio. He'd never been out before. I didn't know who he was. Me and Aaliyah went on tour too, and then Wendy Williams. So it's just a fun book. It's a 280-page book with pictures and so forth in it about all the celebrities that I have met. It's not really a diss book. Some people want to say it's a diss book. You know, they think because it says My 100 Homies and Phonies. And phonies really Hollywood. Everything's fake. A lot of stuff is fake in Hollywood. Just, you know, like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, they're not really police people, you know, policemen. So it's just more play on that. But it's really a funny story. So if you like funny stories about how I met, like I said, Eddie Murphy and so many other people I met, and just were great times, man. But it's called My 100 Homies and Phonies of Hollywood. If you go to Team Pierre at Gmail, that's Team Pierre at Gmail, and ask, and you know, we'll send you a copy out, you know, and autograph it for you. And it's really funny stories. People who read it love it. And the first 35 pages is my journey from, you know, starting the comedy from DC to going to Hollywood, to leaving Hollywood, to coming back to Hollywood, and then after that it just goes into like each chapter is a story of a celebrity that I met and who was cool and who wasn't cool and so forth. So there it is right there. Yeah. First of all, just what you just said. I mean, I've been doing it for 30 years, you know, since I was in high school. Be ready to put that time in, you know. If you're looking for instant, you know, success, you might get yourself hurt because it may not be. You have to have passion and want to do this, man. This is what you need to want to do. You need to say, I want to do this, man. And if you do that, you know, you'll be all right. I just say try to be original as possible. You know, don't try to look at other comics and say, well, I'm gonna try to be like him. It's easy to say that, but then we already have that person. We already have Cat Williams. We already have Dave Chappelle. We already have, you know, whoever, Martin Lawrence. Be somebody, you know, be somebody different. Don't try to mimic someone else. Be you. There's a reason why you think you're funny. Be that person. Well, I never got a first check.
Your first check that you got, or first.
Okay, first payment. I got $50. No, I got $15. Martin Lawrence got $50. We did like a LA Fitness type of thing. I forgot what it was called. Up there in the top where you drink your smoothies and stuff like that. They put a microphone up there, and I got $15 to do my comedy, and Martin got $50. So that was the headline of the show, and I opened up. We had like 4 comics or 3 comics on the show. I got $15. So what I did with $15, I put it in gas, okay, to get back home and shit. So that was that. My biggest check was 6 figures check that I did a movie, and I went in and I took it back to the bank that I used to work at that I quit, because I was trying to be a comedian. They weren't letting me, take the days off. And I went back with that sucker and deposited that big old check back into that same bank and let people know, like 2 years later, look what I've done.
Think big, think tall boy.